The Wolf Among Us. Based on the Fable series of comics, The Wolf Among Us is Telltale's signature style at its best. The game follows storybook characters as they adapt to life in the real world, complete with the violence, romance and intrigue that tends to befall these classic characters. With visuals that look like a comic book come to life and thought-provoking gameplay, it's great for those looking for an engaging story. Battlefield 4. DICE knows how to make a shooter, and Battlefield 4 is no exception. The single player does a good job of driving the player from set piece to set piece while letting them test out the game's diverse array of guns and vehicles. But the multiplayer is where it truly shines. Sprinting across massive maps, mowing down unsuspecting enemies, or teaming up with your friends to drive a tank right into the opposing base highlights why Battlefield has become a household name. Halo, the Master Chief Collection. There would be no Xbox One without Halo, and Microsoft knows this, which is why they released this collection of all 4 mainline Halo games. It includes the remake of Halo CE, the new Halo 2 Remastered, and enhanced versions of both Halo 3 and 4. Not only can you make your way through all 4 campaigns, the multiplayer includes every map from every Halo game. It is truly the ultimate package for any Halo fan, and is an essential part of every Xbox One owner's library. Dead Rising 3. Combining random items to construct devastating weapons is the crux of the Dead Rising franchise, and Dead Rising 3 knows this all too well. It drops players in a city crawling with zombies and lets them go wild. There is a story to work through, but the main draw is the thrill of inventing new weapons and testing them out on the mindless undead that flood the streets. Dying Light. We've all fought zombies before, but Dying Light combines this with a very functional parkour system that allowed for much more dynamic gameplay. Leaping from building to building, clambering away from the shambling hordes of the undead, and crafting bizarre weapons is constantly fun. Dying Light is just the breath of fresh air that zombie games needed. Far Cry Primal. Far Cry is beloved for its memorable villains, tight action, and vividly realised open worlds. Far Cry Primal transports players back to the Stone Age. The story isn't the most captivating, but the breathtaking world is a joy to explore. Plus, this is one of the only games where you can befriend a saber-toothed tiger. Unravel. Unravel is a special game. This puzzle platformer stands out on a console that is gifted with shooters and action games. You guide Yarny through the memories of a family, which takes him through forests, across beaches, and around the hazards of industrial factories. Each new environment is beautifully realised, the music complements every emotional moment, and the gameplay is fluid and thought-provoking. Dirt Rally. Sometimes racing games are very serious affairs. They gain licenses to the most famous racetracks from around the world and let players jump behind the wheel of some of the nicest cars to ever grace the road. Dirt Rally is still a serious game, but there is something refreshing about kicking up mud and dirt, drifting around tight corners in windy forests, and tearing across open fields. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The Call of Duty franchise continues to evolve every year. Black Ops 3 added wall jumping to the series' growing array of traversal abilities. The story explores the fusing of man and machine, offers up some cool set pieces, and even some thought-provoking moments. The multiplayer is as fun and robust as ever, offering up tons of competitive and team-based gameplay. Forza Horizon 2. Sure, it's fun to drive on roads, but why not take to the fields and cliffsides of France and Italy? This open-world driving game combines the joy of exploring a beautiful world with the realistic driving and car control of the Forza series. It's a mishmash of gorgeous vistas, blisteringly fast races, and smooth European style that all makes for one of the best racing experiences on the console. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. 2D Metroidvania platformers are a dime a dozen these days in the indie scene, but Ori and the Blind Forest stands above all the rest. The emotionally resonant story, striking hand-drawn art, and sweeping score all come together to form a beautiful package. Along with the challenging but perfectly balanced gameplay, it not only offers up a unique set of obstacles and gauntlets to jump through, but a minimalist story that hits all the right notes. Gears of War. Gears of War earned its reputation on the Xbox 360, and it's just as good on the Xbox One. The cover-based action, wide variety of explosive weapons, and massive testosterone-filled soldiers look better than ever. The gameplay hasn't changed at all, but there are 2 extra chapters added that were previously only released on the PC. Rocket League. Sometimes the simplest ideas are the best. Rocket League combines 2 popular things, cars and soccer. You race down the field, flipping through the air and knocking the giant ball closer and closer to the net. It's easy to jump into, but also has an incredible level of depth if you look just a little bit further into its addicting gameplay. Not only is the action fun and fast-paced, but the car customization is a nice diversion from the twitchy action and lets players define themselves in what may be the best sports game of 2015. Tom Clancy's The Division. The Division was a long time coming, but thankfully it was worth the wait. The mix of MMO, RPG and third-person shooter mechanics blends very well and makes for an innovative and addictive experience. Sneaking through New York with some friends and tearing apart anyone that stands in your way is rewarding and visceral. The Dark Zone also adds a unique foil to multiplayer that ensures that you never feel safe, even among friends. Destiny. After Bungie finished with the Halo series, they got to work creating Destiny. The spacefaring FPS MMO has taken the world by storm, and for good reason. The shooting is well balanced, and each weapon has a unique kickback and feel to it. There isn't too much story to speak of, but the worlds are gorgeous with plenty of vistas to gawk at between firefights. Quantum Break. This cross-media experience was in development for quite some time, but it finally hit store shelves in early April. Thankfully, it's just as good as we hoped it would be. The time-shifting gunplay makes for some great moments, and the TV show swoops in to move the story forward and give the player a break between the moments of intense action. Killer Instinct. Many were skeptical when Microsoft announced that Killer Instinct was coming back exclusively for the Xbox One, but the revival of Rare's bizarre fighting game won over the community in an instant. The stylistic graphics, eye-popping effects and tight gameplay all add up to a game that can stand toe-to-toe with classics like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. The seasonal structure also lets it grow continuously year after year, continuously adding more characters and features. Sunset Overdrive. Insomniac Games are masters of creating colourful, humorous games with crazy weapons and memorable characters, and they knocked it out of the park with Sunset Overdrive. Not only can you fire some of the strangest projectiles out of some of the coolest looking guns, you can also grind or bounce on almost anything in the environment. Not only is it incredibly satisfying to master the movement, it's incredibly fun as well. Batman: Arkham Knight. The Arkham series not only stands as an example of how to do licensed games properly, but also how to do the Dark Knight justice in a video game. Arkham Knight is the culmination of what has been a fantastic series and gives players a fitting conclusion to the adventures of Rocksteady's Batman. The addition of the Batmobile gives players a different perspective to view Gotham from and mixes up the tried and true stealth and beat-em-up action game. Halo 5 Guardians. While the game's campaign isn't the strongest in the series, featuring lackluster set pieces and an overly complicated plot, the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer picks up the slack. The new thruster packs let you traverse the game's various maps in new and exciting ways. The new weapons are great additions to the series' trademark arsenal, and the new modes feel right at home in what may be the most competitive entry in the franchise. Dragon Age Inquisition. Expansive fantasy RPGs are harder to come by these days, but Dragon Age Inquisition is one of the best. Featuring dozens of branching storylines, well-written side missions, tactical combat, and plenty of dragons to slay, this enormous adventure is a must-play for any RPG fan. Fallout 4. If you're looking for a massive open-world RPG that you can sink hundreds of hours into without even scratching the surface, then Fallout 4 is the game for you. The gameplay hasn't changed too much, but the addition of weapon customization and base building let you interact with the broken world of the Wasteland in new and exciting ways. Titanfall. If you can only get one multiplayer shooter on the Xbox One, Titanfall may be your game. When on foot, you can run on walls and double jump to get from point A to B in style. Then, when the time comes, you can summon your Titan, the hulking mech that plummets down from space. Running around the massive maps in these mechanical giants lets you see the battlefield from a new point of view, while also ensuring that you aren't overpowered. Forza Motorsport 6. Rev your engines, put on your driving gloves and jump into some of the nicest cars in the world. Each new Forza game refines the gameplay slightly, and Forza Motorsport 6 delivers a near-realistic experience with car damage, weather effects and photorealistic courses. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. CD Projekt Red's Witcher series has been pretty incredible, but The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was their most ambitious outing yet. The game was 30 times larger than any previous Witcher game, and featured open environments with the depth of choice CD Projekt Red's games are known for. Wild Hunt might be the end of Geralt's story, but he went out with style.
Like this video? Why not give us a like and subscribe? We try and upload amazing